And we're live. Hello, Yar. How are you doing today?
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you. Happy New Year to you
Happy.
and to everyone watching and listening, our customers, the Webflow community, and everyone that is building something this year. Let's make it an unforgettable one. We kicked it off 2 weeks ago with the first episode of 20 minutes, and I had fun. It was super interesting. I always learn stuff when I talk to you. In the first
Yes.
episode, you mentioned Webflow apps. You were excited about Webflow apps going into 2025. And
Yeah.
today, I think you're going to talk about some of them that are interesting, especially for our customers, B2B SaaS and tech startup, and otherwise companies who want to go fast. So, what do you have for us? What are the Webflow apps that we need to look out for in 2025?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for the intro. Very happy to be doing this. 20 minutes. So in 2025, I think Webflow apps are gonna be very much in demand. Webflow apps are shaping kind of how we use the platform and how the customer ends up using the platform. Especially when it comes to integration. So Webflow apps works really well with these third-party tools that are very much in demand. Recently, Webflow apps released an integration with Zapier. So now you have Zapier as a Webflow app. Um, you can access it directly from your Webflow or your sharing screen. Yeah. So Zapier is like recently they released it, I think a couple of months ago. And now you can directly from your Webflow dashboard, from the designer, you can create automations. And automations is something that is very necessary when you have some kind of workflows. Let's say you have a form on your website, you want your users to download something out of the form, get an email, maybe some sort of other automation with another third party tool. So as you can see here in the example in the picture you just showed, it's connecting to Google Sheets. So perhaps you have a form, you want the details to go to Google Sheet, and this is something now very easily possible. As you can see here, you have an app right there in the designer. You check your zaps. They call them zaps. So you check your zaps, they're good, and they connect them very easily. Of course, if you're familiar with Zapier, this is their usual interface. And I think this is something that will bring a lot of extra steps that we can do to the website. So, sometimes you do the website and you go like, okay, now what? If you're familiar with third-party tools, you go to third-party tools, you sign up, you make another account, you have so many tabs open, you have all this. You don't know if okay, is this third-party tool good with Webflow? Is it going to integrate well? And now with Webflow apps, this is kind of this barrier kind of broke. So with the Webflow app now you have direct access in your designer. You can make your edits, you can create your workflows, and yeah, I think it's gonna be something very big in 2025.
Yeah. So, is can you see that Webflow apps library sort of as a curated list that basically tells you, hey, these apps work very well with Webflow because we integrated them well natively through an app.
Yeah, I mean, so these, of course, to submit an app to Webflow, there is some sort of a check that they do. Second, of course, that the app that works with Webflow uses the Webflow API, and of course it's integrated in a way that would work very well with Webflow. So it has that setup. I've been trying to make an app myself, doing some courses with Webbay. He's a very active member of the community, and he did a few apps on the marketplace. It was very nice. He was even mentioned in the last conference. Some of his apps, like they're mini apps, they do many stuff, but they're very nice use cases because you can see like how to use the API and how the API is easy to use. So when Zapier, I would say the top apps right now in the Webflow marketplace are Zapier, HubSpot, and MemberStack, of course. Of course, apart from the analytics tools, these three, are always on demand because I always want, let's say in MemberStack's case, MemberStack is a app that does user accounts. So you can create user accounts on your website. That is like I have a login where my users can log in. They have a dashboard. Of course, I build it on Webflow, and I use MemberStack to make this gated content. They call it gated content.
Hmm.
MemberStack was always in demand, and now that it has a Webflow app, thank you for sharing. I missed that. Okay, so MemberStack has always been kind of the number one tool when it comes to user accounts. I know Webflow tried to make user accounts. They tried to build it natively in their platform. They did that 2 years ago and didn't work. I don't know what happened, but they kind of deprecated it, and now it's also gone, and they're relying fully on MemberStack.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with Zapier. Like this thing happened. They tried to make it their own, but then they're like, no, it's better to integrate the good tool, the well-known tool, and just work with that. And that's what they did here. So you can see here, you can have the dashboard, you can have the member stack components. They're very easily added, like a login form, some profile picture stuff. And like it's a one-time setup, but I think member stack is one of the like it's really, really good. It's very secure. It has all the licenses for GDPR and all that. So I think it's a very,
Yeah, and
very
I can
good
see
option.
that it's being used by big companies like Slack, Webflow, and Reddit as well. So, and the proposition for MemberStack, as I can see, is specifically aimed at SaaS. So, design and build custom SaaS products and membership sites. So, yeah, obviously, it could very well be the case that when a B2B SaaS startups comes to us for us to design and build their new website, that they might already be using MemberStack, right? So that
Yeah,
would
I
mean that
mean,
we probably
yeah,
integrate it quite easily into their new Webflow site in a much more, well, convenient way.
no code. It's a no code. It's like the no code tool for user accounts.
Hmm.
Because as well, like the coding, there's not much coding. You just, of course, install a script. You connect it with the app. Of course, it does it for you. So you just click connected, and yeah, I'll just bring it up. So yeah, so it's very easily connected. You don't have much coding to do. You go here. Okay, this is a login. This is a gated content. Of course, the options change depending on what element you choose on the site. Say you're a SaaS company, you offer a service that is, I don't know, a service that is somehow very personal, very customized. You want to build a dashboard for your users. So let's say you have a call with them every while. So you want to build a dashboard where you can see the progress of the call, some notes, some stuff. Using MemberStack, this is very easily done. I mean, you don't have to get developers, you don't have to do anything. Just your no-code developer, your dedicated no-code developer can do this for you because it's kind of like the same with Webflow, and it's inside Webflow since you use the app to do it.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what we can do with that. So another Webflow app that you mentioned was, of course, HubSpot, which is a platform many of our customers use for their inbound strategy, their content strategy. So what would be
Yeah.
the advantage of integrating or using HubSpot as a Webflow app, integrating it that way versus, well, using it sort of as a third party and connecting it through, for example, Zapier or in another way?
Well, HubSpot's kind of like the OG. HubSpot is one of the first CRM or the most famous CRMs out there. It's used by big, small companies, so it's very much in demand. It's built its base as a no-code CRM. I remember back in the days, HubSpot was supposed to be a website builder as well. I mean, they tried to do these landing pages. I think it's still there, and
They still
there
do.
was a
Yeah.
yeah, but there was a projection like they wanted to do like full on like Webflow, but I guess they walked away from that. But they still have, like you said, like they still have these landing pages. You can build quick landing pages, blogs, these forums as well. They make these pages, but it's it's kind of like hard to design, hard to style, and here where Webflow comes in. So the advantage of having a HubSpot app in your Webflow designer is that you can easily connect, let's say, your forms, your content that is on your HubSpot. You can easily embed it on the website. You can connect even the form fields specifically, so you have your own styled form on Webflow, and that is connected to HubSpot. So you have to make sure that it's, you have the same accounts, they connect, and then you have that workflow very much easily done because you can style it directly in Webflow. Things are easier or things are better organized. You have, okay, your Webflow forms, everything's organized, your HubSpot forms, everything organized, and then you
Yeah.
have the app to make sure you see that.
So it's a much more seamless experience because it
Exactly.
is a Webflow app now. Hmm.
Exactly. Like you see, like let's say you have an existing form, you can embed it, or you can map your workflow form to HubSpot. So the like I said, the workflow form that you already styled in Webflow, you just map the field to HubSpot. This is something that was very hard to do before, and
Hmm.
now that the app came around, the demand on this increased. Also, the users when they hear that this is possible, because some of them they don't know it's possible, some of them are already are still in the previous thought that, oh, this is very hard to do, so we have to embed. And when this came around and they saw how easy it is, and it was very, a lot of them became very happy, especially because sometimes it's not just setting it up. If they make changes, they have to make the mapping again, and with the app that's easily connected, that's easily done. So if I make changes to my HubSpot form, I can easily connect that back to my Webflow form, before, without any code, of course, because you have the app right there.
Okay, nice, man. That sounds good. That sounds
Mm.
good.
Yeah. I think Webflow apps are a great thing that they released. They released it early last year, but it increased. A lot of big companies made their apps on the Webflow app, and I see a lot more coming in. Um, like HubSpot is like these big companies that a lot of users use, and a lot of users ask for connecting it with Webflow
Oh, yeah.
websites. Yeah, we'll see definitely much more coming in 2025.
Yeah, there's so many apps now, right? I mean, we also use the app for schema markups, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Webflow also launched their own analytics app, analyze and optimize apps. So what more do you have for us? Right, the Graphite app.
Graphite, yeah, very nice app that does the schema markups. Also something that is sometimes hard for users to know. This is like a more no-code way to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it also makes it easier for agencies like Noco to integrate those services or to add those services to our standard packages because, of course, we chose the no code, low code route. And we did that, for simplicity, efficiency. But then, of course, you sometimes you get on some crossroad where the customer does want some custom coding, things implemented. And previously, like in the early days, it was kind of hard to sort of set the limits of our scope of work. But right now, with all those apps, like for example, those schema markups that required a little bit of JavaScript previously, apps like Graphite just help us
yeah,
add little bits and pieces of value to our packages, to service offerings, and that's so cool to see. It
yeah,
makes it quite easy to break the boundary of no code. And then, of course, in addition to that, and that's like a cheat code, we are connected to a software studio called Eli 5. So when it gets really complex, they can literally build everything for us.
yeah.
You recently started here, but I know you previously worked with some of the guys of Eli 5 before, and I think that once you spend some time in Amsterdam the coming
Sorry.
month, you'll get some interesting conversations on the technical front there as well, and some nice
Yeah, yeah.
discussions maybe whether it's okay to let an app do it or if it still needs to be custom coded. Those are always funny discussions to witness. So, what are more interesting apps? I mean, because there's so much that you can do with an app, like the spectrum of apps is so wide. What are
Yeah.
some interesting examples that you don't really think about right away that are less obvious than, for example, a Zapier, a HubSpot?
I mean, there are these mini apps, like a small app does one thing, does one small job, very useful. I really like it. There are a lot of these. For example, I know Flow guys. Flow guys. Sorry if I got their toolkit.
Is
Yeah,
that the
Flow guys
SVG
toolkit.
tool?
No, sorry, this is another one, but this one orders your CMS items. So, say I have a blog, I want to order it. Instead of going and adding a number field, and this is something that we do kind of often. So, this app helps you order your CMS items. You can just drag and drop your CMS items like this. Drag and drop your
Right.
CMS item. Okay, I want this article number one, this article number two. Bam. That is a very small app, does this job only. And
So it's like it's
yeah.
like a UI UX enhancer basically for your Webflow backend.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know the CMS is something that is, say, used by the marketing team later on. Okay, say you set it up, we set it up at Noco, and then, like, let's say the client has a marketing person, they control the CMS. Sometimes this gets overwhelming. They need, because when we set it up, we set up the fields. So when we set up a CMS, we set up the fields, what's gonna be used, what the client wants, what this page wants as well, and then we give it to the client, let's say the marketing team, the person in charge, and they will be able to fill in their own information and then get their page on as per the template. Of course, Webflow has a lot of features. You have a lot of options to use, but sometimes these people or this marketing team or the market person wants something extra. Like, okay, I want to get numbers or one more field to add a bit of text more here, or I
Yeah,
want to order my CMS items. I want to order the collection I have. Before, to order the collection, we used to like add a new field with a number and then go on each item, number them. But things like that helps make this faster. Like, okay, this was a two
yeah,
hour job, now it's a 10-minute job.
yeah.
You know?
Which is quite significant, quite a significant
Yeah.
time saving. All right.
Also,
So with
another
all those
one.
apps, yeah, with all
Yeah,
those
this one
apps
as
that
well, like
you.
you mentioned it.
Oh, sorry for talking
Sorry.
over you.
No, no, you mentioned the SVG import. This was as well like a mini app, converts your SVGs in a Webflow manner. Easy to use, and it's very. I use it every day almost. And
So you, and yeah,
yeah,
okay, that's interesting. So because by
it's a
using
mini app.
that, so also nothing slips through the cracks CRO wise, right? Because for example, you want to have your images formatted in a certain manner that has little impact on performance. So little
Exactly.
tools like this, I can imagine, just help to simply do it in a very quick way and to not forget it.
Yeah, yeah, and have full control. Like, you have full control right there in the designer. So it's simple and you have full control. Of course, like you can see, like there are so many categories in the Waffle marketplace for apps, analytics, asset management. So much stuff are being added day by day. There are paid tools as well.
Hmm.
I don't know how strong that is working. I mean, I know in the sense of AI, paid tools make sense, but other paid tools, I don't know if they're working as much. Um, Slater is a good tool for. Like, Slater is one of my favorite. It's like a code editor inside the Webflow app, inside your designer. So you have this code editor where you can type in as much code as you want, because I know Webflow has a limit to that, and there's a you have to publish every time you want to see the code edited. And with Slater, this is something that's done right there in the Webflow app, but it's a paid app. So if you want to host this on your live domain, you have to pay for it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess
there are
with
these.
what yeah, I guess with those paid apps, it all depends on the amount of value they add to what you want to
Yeah,
do. So, for example, if even if it's just a micro app, but if it's somehow in your situation very important to you because it saves you a lot of time, I think people would happily and customers would happily pay a small monthly fee for it, or maybe even a one-time fee. Yeah, it all depends on what it adds to your workflow. Time saved, frustration saved. Yeah. So okay, very cool, man. I know you
can I
are
throw
on top of this.
one more? This one is, since you said time saving. So this one, bulk asset file names and alt text. So if I have images all over my website, I want to add an alt text, right? This one does it with AI, automatically fills in all alt text to my images. I know this is something also that comes up. I know users, after they build the website, they come up, okay, want to improve our SEO performance, want to improve our alt text, meta descriptions, we want to give links. The links have to have names. So things like that also speed up the workflow. It's a mini app. You pay, of course, for the AI calls, and it's very good to improve the
Yeah.
workflow. Of course, productivity.
Like with many AI tools, it really takes care of the bulk of the work, and then of course you have to check it for quality yourself and edit it. But just it's
Yeah,
so refreshing, so such a time saver to just get the bulk or the basis done for you, so you don't start at a blank sheet of paper basically. And especially with websites with a lot of pages, all that metadata. all those slugs, all those naming the images. It's just a lot of work. You have to work with
Yeah.
spreadsheet and stuff like that. So to give you a kickstart, that's great. That's great, and it will probably only get better. So you have more relevant output, more high quality output. So yeah, it's very cool that all those things are directly integrated in Webflow, and it would be cool for Noco to also build some apps. I know you're already experimenting with it, so yeah, let's brainstorm about something that we come across often at our customers, and see if we can build a nice little app for that. And a little niche app would actually be very cool. Yeah, I mean, you have like there's so many things. Like I give you a very silly example just to close it off. Remember when Apple started using those weird image extensions, those .heic files?
Yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
with
when you had
the knife.
Yeah, so so the first thing I did, because I back then I was working on a Windows laptop. So whenever you transferred images from your
Yeah,
iPhone to your Windows laptop, you basically couldn't really do anything with them for some reason, because
you have to
because of
convert.
the yeah. So you had to switch them to JPEG or something, or PNG. So the first thing I did was look for a little tool. Like it's something that
Yeah,
frustrated a lot of people back then, I think, because nobody knew what it really was.
yeah,
And then you had these guys like making a little small little tools for it. And it's these little things like that give you that are like on the surface are super tiny, but they give you a lot of frustration. That would be nice to build some tools for that. So would be a nice
yeah,
brainstorm topic.
yeah. Well, I don't want to say much, but something is coming on the way. Uh,
Oh
we'll
wow,
have we'll
that's
have
a
nice stuff
quite
coming on the way.
quite the
Yeah, yeah,
cliffhanger, Yar. Quite the cliffhanger. Okay,
yeah.
well let's see
I'm
what you come up
cooking
with.
some stuff. I'm working. I'm working. I'm cooking. I'm working on it.
Let him
so,
cook. Let him cook. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right. I learned a lot again about Webflow apps. So thank you. And
Thank you so much.
have a great weekend. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Well, for
Yes.
another 20 minutes.
Nice. Nice. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. You too.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.